Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
His decision to meet with the U.S. president amid criticism that he and other leaders broke ranks with CARICOM on Venezuela. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, March 27th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. As far as St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet is concerned, he did nothing wrong by joining other regional leaders in a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump on the ongoing economic and political situation in Venezuela. He says he was elected by St. Lucians to represent St. Lucia, and that's just what he did. Chastanet, along with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, his Bahamas counterpart, Dr. Hubert Minnis, and the President of Haiti, Juvenal Moïse, held a 2-hour meeting with Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort last Friday. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves had described the meeting as troubling, adding that there was no true representation of the CARICOM grouping, given that its current chairman, St. Kitts Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, had not been invited. But Chastanet told reporters he did not share Gonsalves' concerns.
The topics that were discussed are national as well as regional in importance. At the end of the day, this was not a meeting for CARICOM. This was a meeting by invitation by the President of the United States of America, who is St. Lucia's largest trading partner. In addition to that, it's my largest diaspora. In addition to that, it's the one that offers me and St. Lucians the greatest opportunity for growth. So if I'm invited to put forward St. Lucia's agenda, I will do so. But I've always been extremely respectful and will continue to be respectful on CARICOM's positions.
The Prime Minister went on to explain that he was pleased with the proceedings of the meeting, which included discussions on themes such as governance, foreign policy, security and investment.
Things like helping support and strengthen security in the region, and particularly here in St. Lucia, were discussed. Visas. So the fact that St. Lucians are having to go to Barbados to be able to get visas, in terms of looking at some of the solutions that would allow St. Lucians to apply and process their visas here in St. Lucia. Pre-clearance facilities. As you know, St. Lucia is currently constructing a brand new airport terminal. They do have pre-clearance facilities in other countries, and we have initiated dialogue with them, and there's a team coming down to follow up with us.
He noted that the issue of trading opportunities also featured on the agenda of the high-level meeting.
We have the Sabira, which is a hangover from the CBI, which allows our agricultural produce to be able to go into the U.S. That deal is about to expire, and we spoke about getting that deal renewed, and also the idea of bringing back a new CBI, Caribbean Basin Initiative, that existed previously. So these are all things that we're very, very interested in, and I think could redound to the benefit of all St. Lucians.
Also up for discussion was the restructuring of OPIC, the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. The U.S. government agency, which was established in 1971, seeks to facilitate American investment in emerging markets by providing support and tools for American businesses to deal with the associated risks of foreign direct investment.
The U.S. government now is revamping that organization to become an investment organization. They're putting in $70 billion into that organization. He's indicated that the reorganization should be completed within the next 60 days and has promised that a team will be coming down to St. Lucia within the next 90 days in order to look at some of the investment opportunities that we currently have here.
According to media reports, officials from the White House have expressed that the 5 countries who were represented at the meeting will be given priority status by OPIC. Suspicion has already been raised as to whether these commitments have been offered in exchange or expectation of implicit support of the United States foreign policy in relation to the ongoing turmoil in Venezuela.
That report from Amandi Matherin of Choice News, St. Lucia. While despite Chastain's position, Grenada's Foreign Minister Peter David believes the St. Lucian Prime Minister and the other leaders broke ranks with CARICOM in its position on Venezuela. We get more in this GBN News report.
CARICOM has an interest in the outcome in Venezuela. Venezuela has a boundary with countries like Grenada, countries like Trinidad and Tobago, that the future stability of Venezuela is in the interest of CARICOM, and that while we understand that there are difficulties within Venezuela, CARICOM's position remains that these matters should be resolved by the Venezuelan people coming together.
Minister David said that a meeting of CARICOM foreign ministers on the weekend gave the regional heads an insight into the Venezuelan opposition leaders' perspectives and for continued effort to broker dialogue with the Maduro-led government. Minister David reiterated the need for continued peace and stability in the region.
Everybody thought it was easy. Overthrow, what's the guy's name, Muammar Gaddafi, remove Saddam Hussein. That was easy. The peace has proved to be much more difficult, and Libya continues to deteriorate. Iraq is still in conflict. We don't want that on our borders.
With respect to the meeting of ministers with U.S. President Donald Trump, Minister David says it may not have been reflective of a CARICOM position, but a bilateral or multilateral relationship as individual states. He viewed the meeting as unfortunate.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, National Security Minister Stuart Young says measures will be put in place to arrest anyone who intimidates immigration officers. This amid concerns that officers may need police protection from people linked to Venezuelan nationals who are denied entry into the Twin Island Republic. There are reports that these immigration officers are now being followed home from work. CNC3's Kamal Georges reports.
Last week, when immigration officers denied entry to more than a dozen Venezuelan nationals, reports of alleged intimidation surfaced. At least one immigration source told CNC3 an officer who made the decision to refuse entry to a foreign national was reportedly followed home by people believed to be known to or related to them. The officer reportedly drove to a police station instead and made a report. But according to Minister of National Security Stuart Young, acts of intimidation against immigration officers are not new.
When I was on a visit to the port in Cedros, and immigration officers there told me they had had a couple incidents with persons who were turned away, and it's not relatives on that instance of Venezuelans who were turned away, but rather persons of interest who came to collect them.
Minister Young says the National Security Ministry is currently developing a plan to ensure the safety of officers at Cedros, but with new reports of intimidatory tactics, he says that plan may need to be expanded.
I am going to be suggesting to the Commissioner of Police, especially at Piarco and other legal ports of entry where immigration officers are, that we set up some sting operations, some undercover police operatives who would be following immigration officers and around in these areas. So if anyone is found intimidating any immigration officer, they will be charged with the full extent of the law and criminally charged at that.
Minister Young was asked what action would be taken against foreign nationals caught engaging in such action. He said once the law follows its course, he will not hesitate to sign their deportation papers.
The Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has a second appeal coming out of the no-confidence motion controversy in Guyana. A day after Attorney-at-Law Christopher Ram filed an appeal against the Court of Appeal decision to invalidate the no-confidence motion passed against government last December, opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo has followed suit. Jagdeo, through his attorneys, on Tuesday filed an application asking the CCJ, which is Guyana's highest court, to restore the validity of the motion. He's asking the CCJ to rule that the December 21, 2018 motion was validly passed by a majority of all elected members of the National Assembly. The opposition leader also wants the court to declare that 33 votes in the 65-member National Assembly constitute a majority within the meaning of the Constitution. Meantime, President David Granger says the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, will continue its preparations for elections despite what is happening in the courts. We get more from Newsroom Guyana's Fariza Hanif.
President David Granger says he will continue to engage the Guyana Elections Commission to ensure their requests for holding elections are fulfilled, which includes approving more funds in the National Assembly.
So I've been very happy with the level of cooperation I've been getting from the chairman, and as far as possible, we are going to satisfy those needs. We're going to go back to the Parliament, whoever attends, we're going to go back to Parliament and make requests to ensure that GCOM has everything it needs. We are committed to having clean elections, credible elections in this country.
GCOM had indicated that it can only hold elections in late November after a house-to-house registration and that it needs $3.5 billion. 2 of 3 Court of Appeal judges last Friday ruled that 34 votes and not 33 in the 65-seat National Assembly are required as an absolute majority for the passage of a no-confidence motion. This effectively means that the government can continue in office and there is no need to call general and regional elections unless the country's final appellate court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, rejects the ruling. The opposition has already moved to the CCJ, seeking to overturn the ruling, and made it clear that it will not attend any sitting of the National Assembly until the CCJ rules. Meanwhile, Government Chief Whip Amna Ali said discussions are underway to have the next sitting of the National Assembly in April.
At the moment, we are looking at the order paper, the items that are outstanding, and those that will be necessary for us to put on the order paper.
Ali is also not too phased with the planned opposition boycott of the House.
Throughout the lifetime of the opposition, their attitude is to boycott. They don't care whether it is for good or for bad. This boycott that they are planning to have is not going to be any surprise to the government. It is just another thing. But what I want to say to you is that government business has to continue.
Still to come, tributes pour in for a veteran Jamaican broadcaster who lost her battle with cancer. Stay with us.
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elme.
This is Buju Banton and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elme. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkittsmusicfestival.com.
Tributes are pouring in for Doreen Samuels, the veteran Jamaican broadcaster who lost the battle with cancer on Tuesday. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness described Samuels, who worked with the RJR Gleaner Communications Group, as a true Jamaican icon. This TVJ News report reflects on the life of the late broadcaster.
What you have to do, right?
It's in her voice.
Good morning, good morning. How is the morning today? It's Wednesday.
Her smile. For more than 3 decades, Doreen Samuels captivated the hearts and minds of listeners on RGR 94 FM.
Be safe, be dry, be warm. Love you.
Broadcasting was her calling. She tells her story in the RGR 94 FM 65th Anniversary Pioneers Limited Edition magazine like this. As part of the process for the finalists of the Miss Jamaica World Pageant in 1980, the ladies visited RGR to record statements. After recording her statement, Doreen says she was asked to do it again, and then another time, and yet again. Each time the audience in the studio grew as persons were mesmerized by her voice and her command at the mic. A career in radio was then far from her mind, but with the pageant behind her, Doreen landed a job at RGR 94 FM, where she joined the staff in 1981. That chapter closed on January 11, 2019.
And tonight, we say goodbye to our Doreen.
Guyana is anticipating record earnings from oil and gas in 2020. That story and more in this week's Newsline Business.
Newsline Business is brought to you by Solar Dynamics.
Guyana is projecting earnings of up to $300 million in oil revenue next year. In addition to ExxonMobil, several other operators are currently carrying out exploratory works in the country. Director of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, says Georgetown has only scratched the surface of its oil and gas potential.
At least 4 will be carrying out exploratory works in 2019, with 4 exploratory wells planned for this year. There's been 12 discoveries thus far, with in excess of 5.5 billion recoverable barrels. And we haven't yet been able to calculate fully what the gas reserves are.
A warning to the Bermuda government that there could be job losses as a result of an increase in liquor license fees for businesses. The Liquor License Amendment Act was passed in the House of Assembly last Friday, and once it becomes law, bars, restaurants, and other establishments that serve alcohol could see their license fees increase by up to 50%. Opposition leader Craig Cannonier's private businesses sell liquor, and he says raising the fees is the wrong move.
For many of the businesses, it's going from $2,000 up to $1,000. Many of these Mr. and Mrs. Bermuda companies, entrepreneurs, can't afford the $2,000 now. You're increasing it by 50% at a time where many of the entrepreneurs can't control the cost. Invariably, they're going to cut back on their labor costs. That affects Bermudians finding jobs and maintaining a standard of living in Bermuda.
Grenada is encouraging workers to take advantage of employment opportunities overseas. Labor Minister Peter David said the latest group of farm workers left recently for Canada, and there will soon be openings for hotel and domestic workers.
The farm labor program is an important program. Several of our young people go to Canada, engage in either apple picking or other farming endeavors. They're able to make some money, but also receive training. In addition to that, 25 persons were selected to travel to Barbados for training with Trinity Recruitment Services for possible placement with Carnival Cruise Lines.
Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Newsline Business was brought to you by Solar Dynamics.
When we were building in 1984, we decided to get the solar water heater.
We use it up to this morning.
From my home, we get rain 2 days and I still get hot water.
I've had it for 30 years and I have no problems with it up to this day.
All I can say is that anyone who wishes to have a system
Tri-Solar Dynamic.
Solar Dynamics water heater systems are now right through the Caribbean.
Ahead in sport, former Windies head coach Phil Simmons gets and accepts an apology for his 2016 dismissal. The details after the break.
In goes our curry paste. Okay guys, so time is up. Now time to add our shrimp here.
Topping our sports this Wednesday, former West Indies head coach Phil Simmons and Cricket West Indies CWI are in a better place after coming to an amicable resolution in the claim filed by Simmons over his dismissal in 2016. CWI President Ricky Skerritt made good on his campaign promise to bring an end to the stalemate between the board and the Trinidadian. According to a statement issued Wednesday, the two, along with newly elected CWI Vice President Dr. Kishore Shallow, met at Sandals Grand Antigua, where Skerritt formally apologized to Simmons and reiterated his position that they did not make a mistake in selecting him as coach. In accepting the apology, Simmons said he and his family were relieved the matter has finally been closed. The former cricketer also hinted at a possible return, saying that he's a very proud West Indian and hopes that in the future he gets the opportunity to try and help move cricket forward again. The statement added that the settlement agreed in Simmons' wrongful dismissal claim will remain confidential. Meantime, the Barbados Cricket Association, BCA, is throwing its support behind Skerritt in taking the regional game forward. That's according to the BCA President Conde Riley, following the surprise victory of the Kittian over Dave Cameron in last weekend's elections. The BCA, along with Guyana and the Windward Islands, were staunch supporters of the former president and his policies. In an interview with CBC Sports, Riley defended his association's decision to back Cameron, but also gave the assurance that Skerritt now has its full support.
Why we supported the Barbados Cricket Association, supported him, was because of the initiatives that he put in place. And as you may know, he's the president of Kensington Cricket Club in Jamaica, so he will continue to serve in that capacity, as he said yesterday, and continue to work in the interest of West Indies cricket. You know, the presidency was not his forever, and the whole process was very democratic. And at the end of the day, everybody ended it. It was very cordial. And as I said, we had breakfast together yesterday. We traveled on the same bus to the airport. And everything was quite amicable, and everybody pledged to work in the interest of West Indies cricket. As I said to President Skerritt, he can rely on Barbados and myself to support all the initiatives. Actually, I hope that this whole thing settles down very quickly, because we are at a very delicate stage in terms of some negotiations that we're into, and I don't want anything to disrupt it, because these things are integral in terms of how we go forward for the rest of this year and next year. So that's where we are.
The BCA boss has invited Skerritt to Barbados to address the membership on the way forward.
Mr. Skerritt and invited him when we found out that he had a seconder, but then he said, you know, because we had voted before, he turned that down. But I'm sure that our member services committee will invite him again to come and address our members on whatever topic he wants to speak about. And as I said, you know, this is not about individuals. This is about West Indies cricket. And I hope that all the talk dies down and let's get back to work. We have some very delicate negotiations going on now, and I don't want anything to disrupt that, because we need to get these things concluded so that we can continue to run all the programs across the region. So I just hope that people bear that in mind, that it's not that, you know, Mr. Cameron is gone and Mr. Skerritt is coming. That things are ongoing, that we have continue to work toward, because it is extremely important in terms of the viability of Cricket West Indies.
Switching sports, Guyana's football boss, Wayne Ford, says the Gold Cup-bound senior men's squad will have their work cut out for them as preparations will be ramped up for the event in June. HGP's Jaden Samuels has the details in this report.
The annual International Men's Football Championship of the North, Central American and the Caribbean, organized by CONCACAF, will see Guyana making its maiden appearance alongside Bermuda. Guyana joins Haiti, Canada, Martinique, Curacao, Bermuda, Cuba, Jamaica, Nicaragua, and El Salvador, all of whom would have performed best in a series of 4 CONCACAF Nation League qualifiers. Guyana secured its place in the tournament at the weekend after a 2-1 win over Belize, and in doing so will showcase the country to millions across the globe in the June 17 to July 7 tournament. This alone is a plus for local football, even if the Golden Jaguars do not come out victorious, and is a step local football would be taking, which only augurs well for Guyana, according to football president Wayne Ford.
We have to get to work immediately and start planning for what we will have to do over the next couple of months when we get into the Gold Cup. We must recognize that this is a symbolic and I'm not very often lost for word, but a tremendous accomplishment for Guyana, first and foremost. When we go and play in the Gold Cup, there are probably 40 million people on this planet that would hear the name Guyana for the first time. And to me, that is the point that we need to emphasize.
The Gold Cup will be held in 15 different venues across 12 different cities in the United States and Costa Rica, and will be the first time that the Gold Cup will be held in Central America.
Decorated Grenadian athlete Kirani James will have a new role when the island hosts the 3rd edition of the Grenada Invitational. We get more in this report. Well, that's the sports. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
When we were building in 1984, we decided to get the solar water heater.
We use it up to this morning.
From my home, we get rain 2 days and I still get hot water.
I've had it for 30 years and I have no problems with it up to this day.
All I can say is that anyone who wishes to have a system, try Solar Dynamic.
Solar Dynamics water heater systems are now right through the Caribbean.
Become part of a family of over 2.5 million people in 16 Caribbean countries. When you join a credit union, you're not just a member, you are part owner. Join a credit union today. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions.
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elme.
This is Buju Banton and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elme. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkittsmusicfestival.com.
And that's it for Caribbean Newsline. From all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.